Well, good morning, everybody, for Wednesday, the 2nd of November. This pre-recorded briefing filmed at 7:40 this morning. So, low pressure is very much in charge at the moment, and the jet stream is right over the top of us, which is why we're having a conveyor belt of low pressure systems, which are going to come across the UK over the coming days and potentially into the start of next week as well. With that, we have a low 977 just anchored off the coast of Northern Ireland. And that's quickly moving towards us, and you can see this chart at 12 o'clock showing a warm front just over the Cornish coast and the west coast of Wales at midday, and that will quickly be over the top of us by this evening. As you can see, even particularly clear of us by just after midnight. And you can see over the next few days, looking a little bit unsettled, but a ridge of high pressure will build in for Friday. But look at that, that's an low 936 out over in the Atlantic, which seems to be the remnants of some of this sort of tropical storm or hurricane. But yes, we're definitely getting into the season now where we're starting to see some stormy activity. The winds at heights, well, this is for 12 o'clock, which is probably the end of our flyable period, but probably 40 knots at 2,000 feet, I'd imagine, from the southwest. Hopefully a little bit lighter as we get started, but yeah, we are going to go out of wind limits by about lunchtime today. Satellite picture this morning shows a fairly clear start, the odd bit of low cloud, but Lasham, it's nice and bright and looking good and nice and settled as well. Not too much in the way of shower activity, and you can see one just floating up there just over Bournemouth, but minimal compared to yesterday. Public forecast says 13 degrees, a bit more like seasonal average. October was, I think, the fourth warmest on average for the UK, but we are at the moment in the warmest January to October period on record. So yes, that's very noticeable from the weather we've had this year. As you can see there, by lunchtime, we do reach the 20 to 35, which is pretty much our limit. So I'm expecting that we will stop flying at lunchtime today. Good visibility though, and that wind remaining constant. GFS agrees that 13 degrees is the temperature, and dew points at about 8 degrees. Currently, that is the picture outside at 7:45 this morning. Nice and bright, looking nice, and we've got a 10 knot southerly at the moment, southwesterly, which is about right for this point. And as we look at the temperatures, 8 degrees, dew point of 5. There's the outside chance before stuff comes of some soaring, but yeah, probably you'll be lucky to find anything, especially as we blown apart and you'll be blown towards the airspace. Do bear that in mind in your threat and error planning. If you do start finding little thermals, is that you can get blown downwind quite quickly, and yeah, that does take you towards the ODM-80Z and Farnborough. So to sum up today, looking particularly windy, bright starts, so we're going to try and get as much as we can done this morning before things pick up, but it does look like lunchtime onwards we are going to back the kits away because we will just be out of limits. And yeah, the outside chance of a thermal, and hopefully fairly bright this morning. Do make sure that your gliders are tied down at the moment, folks. There is a fairly big chance we're going to see an even bigger storm at some point in the next week or so. So yeah, we'll just prepare. It is now winter. Airspace wise, nothing too much in our area. One thing of note is raw flight at Kemble, which is active between 10:05 and 11:05. So yeah, keep out of the way of Kemble and the airway that goes up via Bryce Norton and up that way towards the Mind. If you are heading that way, check the NOTAMs in more detail. It's obviously plane active as standard, but yeah, I'll leave it to you. There has also been an A400M doing some flights around the Isle of Wight at sort of medium levels for us. It has also been spotted near Alresford. So yeah, there has been some military activity going on. Operationally today, it's going to be runway 23. Because of the strength of the wind, I suggest that everybody lands into wind and just doesn't use the wheel brake excessively. So runway 23 will be in use. And standard grass landing areas in use, but they will be fairly damp and squidgy underfoot, so just bear that in mind. The runway could be available for landing, but I think best to stick with this because we've got a number of movements today and don't want you to conflict and get in their way on the runway. A reminder though that when movements are in progress, you land in the same direction as the large airliner. So for today, it'll be runway 27 in use for airliners and 23 in use for gliders. Movement wise today, at 9 o'clock, we have an A319 getting airborne from Gatwick. That will be getting to us at about 9:15. So we will not be setting up before 9:15. And then we have a Navajo arriving at 11:30, followed by a Boeing 737 arriving around 12:30, and a Navajo departing at around 1:30, and a King Air arriving at around 1:30. Those latter movements probably won't be affected by us. My plan is to pack up before the Boeing 737 arrives. So yes, your main movements today are the EasyJet and the Navajo. So yeah, 9:15 and 11:30 respectively. So get the kit out, just wait until the EasyJet's on the ground and then we'll get flying. I'm in the Falk this morning, so I will see you on the airfield just after the movement. Bye for now.